Hey everybody, welcome to TIW Podcast. I'm Eric, and today I watched Young Justice Outsiders episodes 10 through 13 over there on DC Universe. And I also want to talk about the comics that I picked up this week, the ones that I read, and my quick thoughts on each of them, and if you should check them out as well. So I'm going to start with Young Justice. Very good episodes. I enjoyed all four of them. It took me a while to get around to watching these because I was busy going to all kinds of wrestling stuff over in Phoenix. But I finally watched them, and I'm looking forward to the second half of the season, which will start airing in June, I believe. I was a little bit disappointed that there wasn't anything brand new as far as TV shows. They did put The Reign of the Superman up on DC Universe this week because it also came out on Blu-ray. I haven't watched that yet because I realized that I didn't get The Death of Superman yet. And I've got to watch that first because it's there are two sides of the same coin, I guess you could say. It's a direct sequel to it, unlike a lot of the DC animated films are kind of standalone. I'm realizing now that I did already get it. Now I have two copies of it. Oh no. Maybe I'll have to give away this other copy of it. Why didn't I check that? The reason I didn't see it is because it's in a different case. That's probably why. But I still haven't actually watched it yet. But I'll do an episode about The Death of Superman and The Reign of the Superman. I've heard they're both very good. But I think they're also both on DC Universe. So if you don't have them on Blu-ray and you have DC Universe, I think you can just watch both of them. You can definitely watch Reign of the Superman on there. They added a bunch of other stuff, a couple other movies, I think, older ones, and a ton of comics. A lot of Volume 1 of DC Rebirth. I recommend a bunch of those, like DC Rebirth Batman Volume 1. That's the one I really liked. And I don't know what else is on there. Probably all at least like Wonder Woman and Superman. But I think there's also like Suicide Squad and some others. But anyway, it kind of makes up for there not being that Doom Patrol didn't start this week. I think it starts next week. I didn't dive deep enough into searching the release dates for that. So a new episode every week of 2019. Maybe they missed the mark a little bit there, but they also put out. I don't see why they didn't do 2 episodes last week and 2 episodes this week of Young Justice, and it would have fulfilled that. I mean, technically they did 13 episodes, 13 brand new episodes in just 4 weeks. So I mean, it's a pretty good release schedule so far. Anyway, I took a few notes on here. Some of these episodes had like so many characters. Like this first episode, episode 10, Exceptional Human Beings. We see training happening on both sides with our newbies being trained by Nightwing, but we also see a bunch of people, nobody specific, being trained by Lady Shiva. So we have this team of Batman, Clayface, and Katana going to try to infiltrate the League of Shadows, get more information on all that. Slade is also there, and Bane ends up getting into a fight with Batman, I think. But we also get the seeds planted. This culminates in the next episode. Victor Stone and his father. We see Victor playing football at the high school and all that kind of stuff. And I was getting pretty excited by the end of this episode, but we didn't get quite the payoff yet. We also, this episode, we see Violet Harper. Violet chooses the last name Harper, so that she can enroll in school, and that also gets paid off in the next episode. We see her and Forager enroll in school, which is a lot of fun. I like this response. I'm sure I've heard this before, but McGann says, "Oh, it's nice to meet you, Violet Harper," after they choose her name, and she's like, "Oh, it's very nice to be met." I like that response. But anyway, yeah, we end this. What does that say? Something recruiter. Sneaky recruiter. Oh, a recruiter was trying to get Victor Stone to go to college or something like that, but he's actually working for his dad. I don't know. I kind of tuned out like for the 30 seconds that all that was happening. But anyway, the next episode called Another Freak. Victor storms into the lab. He's very mad at his dad, but things go wrong, and Victor's crushed by all kinds of machinery and pieces of riffraff. That's not the word I wanted. And we get the origin of Cyborg, because his father has been working on this father box, and he uses it. He puts it on Victor's chest, and its tendrils come out and wrap up the body and tap into the building's power supply and all that. Now, I was kind of shocked at how graphic the crushed Victor Stone was. Like, half of his skin, like all of his organs were out, and like half of his face was like just demolished. Yeah, pretty intense. Pretty intense. But also really cool. Now he wakes up, and then this ties into the high school storyline. And so like this episode, I think, as far as overall story, was my favorite of these four. The next episode was my favorite in general because it was like really fun. All kinds of crazy stuff happens. But this one, as far as the storyline of this group of new heroes goes, was excellent and tied together so well. Because over in high school, we have Violet Harper and Forager, but he has to he needs a regular name. He has this glamour charm. He becomes glamorous. It makes him look like a high school kid, and they come up with the name Fred Bug with 2 G's. And he that plays into a lot of his dialogue the whole time. I like Forager. I think Forager's my favorite. But Violet's not feeling well, and they end up under the bleachers, and she opens up a portal when she's indigo colored, which is different from being violet. Like, I personally couldn't tell the difference between those two colors. Maybe it's just my TV setup, that maybe there isn't that big of as much of a difference as there is. But I think the indigo is a lighter purple. I don't know the definition of indigo anyway. It's before. Yeah, I think it's between blue and violet. Anyway, she makes a portal, and she goes into it and ends up in Stone's lab, and Victor is going crazy and like wants to destroy his dad and all the other people, and is like attacking him and everything. But Violet taps into him and heals him and calms him down, and takes him with her back to the high school through that portal. So that brings us to the next episode. My favorite episode of the season, possibly. It's called Nightmare Monkeys. So we have one storyline centered around Garfield, Beast Boy. He's on set for Space Trek 3052 or whatever it's called. And he goes home, and he uses a good goggles headset. Starts playing this Space Trek game, and he goes crazy. He starts hallucinating. He's convinced that he has to go to Encino, somewhere in Encino, instead of this Hollywood party. His girlfriend is very concerned. She calls 911. She calls McGann, and they all come, and they're trying to figure out what's going on. But in his headset experience, it goes through all these different scenarios and stuff. But my favorite of them all was Doom Patrol Go. So it's done in the style of Teen Titans Go, and all the same voice actors, I believe, but they're playing different characters. Of course, Beast Boy is played by the same person, but like Elastigirl is played by the person who does I don't know. It's the same cast, but they're playing different characters, and it's awesome. It's so funny, and they're like, "All right, it's time to go die. It's right in our names, the Doom Patrol." Like, and then there's a great song. It's fantastic. Just that part alone, maybe like this. It makes this my favorite episode. But Morgana, she is able to tap into his brain and save him. Well, he saves himself first. But she's there, and she like gets him back out into the real world, and the whole goggles thing, I'm really happy with how that is paying off, and we get more explanation of what's going on in the next episode. We'll get to that. Let's see. So they bring Victor back to Connor and McGann's house. And he's like, "Oh, you guys aren't freaked out?" And they're like, "No, it's fine." The Voyager's like, "Ah, are you freaked out?" He takes off his charm, and he's like, "Oh," he falls over. But we find out that Violet, she is not. What was the girl's name? She's not her, and they realize her saying that she's not her is true. Because is the mother box that was destroyed by where with all those experimentations that she was a part of, that the soul of the mother box must have become part of her and brought her back to life and all of that. So she is her own person and not the same person as before she passed away with all those experiments and everything like that. The metahuman gene experimentation. Let's see. So that leads into the next episode. Well, it's just cool. It explains why Violet is able to tap into Victor's father box machinery, circuitry, all of that, is able to communicate with it and like neutralize it to not make him a murderous psychopath. And that comes into play in the last episode of the bunch, True Heroes. So Victor and Violet are left back at the house while the others go on a mission. It's a pronged mission. We only focus on one of them, but we're told that like other splinters of the Justice League are also going after other metahuman abduction centers. They figure out that the goggles poke the users, test for the metagene, and then if they do have the metagene, that they are then brainwashed to go to these centers, to these locations where they're abducted and experimented on and all that kind of stuff. So, it's cool to see everything from this first half of the season really come together. The team we focus on is going to the location where Brion's sister is being held and brainwashed and all that. So they do find Tara, and the rescues, we're told all of them are successful, and Brion and Violet officially become boyfriend and girlfriend, which is all very nice. Tara is brought back to the house with them, along with another kid who was part of this program who had been abducted. But as it turns out, that kid is a mole and is still in contact with the League of Shadows. So that leaves us hanging until June when we get the next run of episodes on its way. So I like it a lot. I think at some point I'm gonna watch this whole season again, and I should go back and watch the first 2 seasons. Although I'm not sure if there's really anything in those that would be like new information to help enjoy these episodes more necessarily. I feel like at this point they've covered all the characters that are involved with everything so well that I don't feel like I'm really missing out not having seen the first 2 seasons at all. But I'm looking forward to more, and I am very excited for Doom Patrol to get started out. I think it's next week, I assume. But I'll keep on talking about that. And starting with this week, I do subscribe to a lot of comics. Some I am caught up on, some I'm not. And I'm trying to get it so that I'm caught up on all of them. But it's a long process. I've fallen very far behind, like all of Dark Knight's Metal. I know this is like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago now, and I still haven't read any of them. And then that like puts a hold on reading other stuff because I know that it ties back into that. Anyway, The Batman Who Laughs, I did go ahead and say, okay, screw it. I'm going to read this because it looks awesome. And I know I haven't read any of Metal. But anyway, so starting with this episode, I think I'm kind of bailing on doing the Shield and the Lost rewatch episodes. So if you're looking forward to those, I'm sorry. Instead, these Friday or weekend episodes, most likely on Saturdays, I'll be talking about the new DC show, whatever that is on DC Universe, and talk about all the comics that I picked up and read for that week. Or I may not necessarily have picked them up this week. I think all of these actually, yes, all of these are comics that came out this week. If you haven't been reading Heroes in Crisis, I recommend it as the number 1 comic that should be read. If you're a fan of DC, as far as getting physical comics, get Heroes in Crisis. It's a 9-part series, and issue number 5 came out this week. But also this month, Flash and Batman have Heroes in Crisis tie-in story. And so annual Flash number 2 is like an epilogue type of thing, or like a prologue tying Heroes in Crisis to this 4-part miniseries. So this isn't officially part of that. It is officially part of that, but it isn't part of the 4 parts. Yeah. Anyway, Heroes in Crisis was excellent this week, as it has been the preceding 4 issues. And then this Flash annual does an awesome job of... I'm not caught up on Flash. I've only read volume 1, which I think is like the first 6 to 8 issues of Flash Rebirth. I know it's not called Rebirth anymore. It's called something else, or it's just what it is. It's just the comics that are coming out. But all kinds of stuff, because we get Godspeed, which is appears right at the end of that first volume, as far as the trade paperbacks go. So that was awesome to see him in there, and I do want to read more of from there, so I could see more of Godspeed in action. But we also get Impulse in here, who's just introduced. I think he was just introduced in Young Justice, tying into the episodes of Young Justice. It is a different cast of characters. We don't have Impulse on the TV show, obviously, but I am really excited for more of the Young Justice comic. It's one of my favorites first issues in a while. That I'm really excited for more of that. So Heroes in Crisis and Annual The Flash #2. They tie in together. I don't really want to give away any plot details for all of this stuff, especially stuff that's in the midst of what's going on, because this is like halfway into the whole story. Go check it out. My #1 recommendation for this year and last year, Heroes in Crisis. I know it's not finished yet, so it might end up not being very good by the end of it, but I think the chances are pretty good that it's going to continue to be awesome. Dead Man Logan, issue #3. I don't remember all the details of what exactly happened in issue #1 and #2. Logan, he is from a different timeline. I'm also not caught up on all of the goings on of his disappearance, like the original timelines, Logan disappearing, all of that kind of stuff. But it is cool. We get some Mysterio action. He is doing some mind control to make Logan think that he's fighting the Sinister Six when he's actually fighting the Avengers, and he's doing a pretty good job of kicking their butts. So, yeah, I did like this issue, and I'm looking forward to see what happens next in it. Some cool stuff. Some cool stuff with the that veil being pulled over his eyes. We also had WWE Forever #1. This issue had 5 different stories in it. I liked most of them. I liked how we sort of got 2 that were closely related, but I felt like they were in the wrong order. Because we had one with the $1 Million Man trying to buy, going to like a jewelry shop, and then he ends up getting into a fight with, who did he get? Razor Ramon. Because, anyway, it makes sense when you're reading it, but why they're in a jewelry shop and all of that. But he's trying to get his tag team belts done. But then later on, we see the origin of Money Incorporated. I think it is when he teams up with IRS, which is who he wins the tag team championships with, I believe. So I feel like those should have been in the opposite order. But anyway, that's like a stupid complaint. Not even a complaint. It was a really fun comic, and I got the pre-order variant, which has like the entire current roster on it, as of like December, I think, because I don't think like Nikki Cross or Lacey Evans are on here, but like the whole Riot Squad is here. You got the Revival. It's an awesome cover, and it'd be really cool to collect signatures. I'll probably take this with me just if I do get the opportunity to get any main roster signatures, to add those onto here. But they are all really small, so it'd have to be like really small signatures. So maybe I won't do that. But very cool cover. Awesome 5 stories. This is like a double-sized issue, and I feel like WWE. And it's likely that you do if you listen to this podcast. Go check that out. Then we have the Unstoppable Wasp. Very I felt a little bit lost because I couldn't remember what happened in issue #3. Issue #4, pretty good. We have it addressed some like some psychological issues that could be relatable. I thought it was very good. And yeah, it's a good one. I am liking this series so far. Then we have the Amazing Spider-Man issue #14, or Legacy issue #815. I didn't really like this issue because it was most of it was about Aunt May and whatever she's doing on that, and then it finally picks up like right there at the end, when Spider-Man gets involved with the this attack that's happening at the restaurant that Aunt May is at or whatever. So I wasn't really into this one, but it roped me back in right there at the end, and I'm looking forward to see what happens next there. Action Comics number 1007. Oh, this variant cover. This is one of my favorite covers of all time. We have the red stripes going across the sky, and then the stars of the American flag made by like a what type of cloud is that? It's like a broken up cloud, like it's kind of a wispy cloud. It's just a like anyway. This cover is amazing. It's by Gleason. And the regular cover is pretty good. Pat Gleason. He hit his first name over in one of the clouds, I think. Let me open this up. Let me confirm that. I think it has. I think this comic has all the credits at the end. Let's see. It's the Wonder Twins credits. Okay, we have the preview for the Wonder Twins at the end of this issue, so that's cool. Yeah, Patrick Gleason did this variant cover. The regular one, Steve Epting did the art of this comic and the cover. The regular variant cover. It's still that cover is pretty good, but I like these variants of most of the DC titles because they're like painted and are just amazing, especially Batgirl and Catwoman. Those variant covers are amazing. But as far as actual story going on in this issue, a lot focused. I can't remember exactly what's going on here. A lot of Jimmy Olsen in here, and a lot of Lois Lane, with only a little bit of Superman in the last few pages. So kind of like this week's Amazing Spider-Man, but I like this one a little bit more because I am a little bit more interested in those characters than I am with Aunt May. But yeah, I'm liking Action Comics. I'm liking it. Then issue number 9 of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Urban Legends. Now this run has been pretty fun. It's the only Ninja Turtles title that I'm reading right now, but this one was another one that I was kind of lost at the start of it because I couldn't remember what happened immediately right before it. But there's lots of cool stuff. If you like Batman, you gotta check out this issue because we have what is the guy's name? It's the Night Watchman. It looks a lot like Batman, and then there's a lot of bats in this issue in general. But it's kind of cool to see the turtles interacting. I think it's mostly Leonardo, but see the turtles interacting with like a superhero type of guy, and they're trying to find Splinter because he's been mutated into a bat, and lost his mind and all these people are being turned into bats, mutant bats, and it's no fun for anybody. Anyway, over here, Star Wars Adventures number 17. Thought that was pretty good. It continues with the Flight of the Falcon story, part 4 of that story, which has been kind of cool. They broke it up the last few months with Destroyer Down, Star Wars Adventures Destroyer Down series. I really like it's like 4 issues. I really like those. So check those out. Star Wars Adventures. I don't read the Marvel Star Wars books. I've just been reading these Star Wars Adventures, and they're fun. They're more. I'd say they're more for like younger readers. It's a more cartoony style to all of them. And this one, the art I thought was really cool because it was kind of like kind of like a oil pastel like crayon type of look to it. Um, no hard black lines, no like ink lines. Is all just done with the colors. The cover and the actual interior art. I really like that. At least for the first story. The second story I think is more like the regular style. And then the last comic that I read this week. This is a pretty long episode, but if you like comics, hopefully you're enjoying this or hearing about something that you might want to check out. Betty and Veronica issue number 2. This is just a 5-issue miniseries. Now, I gotta say, for a lot of these Archie comics that are in the, I don't necessarily like the art style. It seems like kind of rushed sometimes. But the actual story, I do enjoy. This is like the 4th different variation of Betty and Veronica that I've read recently, because we had Betty and Veronica meet Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy. We also had Betty and Veronica Vixens. And then, of course, just what's going on with them in the regular Archie series. So it can be a little bit confusing. And obviously, them on Riverdale, the TV show. Not to mention the Riverdale, the comic book, which probably is also different from the TV show, has a different timeline from that. So, yeah. But it's good. It's a nice story if you like the characters. It's pretty good for the story that they're having. There's like internships and stuff like that. It's mainly like a big part of it is them trying to figure out what to do after high school. Like if they're gonna go to college. Veronica's parents are pressuring her to go to like an Ivy League type of school, but she wants to go to regular school, like a local like community college type of school with Betty, and stay there with her friends. And so it's all that kind of stuff, and but there's not anything crazy going on like murders at the lake or anything like that, like you get with that. But it's also, at the same time, it's a bit more serious than like, oh no, we have 2 dates, so I can't go on, like this, like the classic kind of Archie comic storyline. So anyway, that's it for all the I did pick up a couple of other comics, but I'm not caught up on those yet. Justice League Odyssey came out this week, but I haven't even started reading that run yet. I think it was issue number 5 now. And there's a couple other ones I don't remember exactly. Those are in the other room as well. But yeah, I think I'll keep doing this each week. I'll do the first half. We'll talk about the new DC show, and then the second half of the episode, I'll talk about that week's comics that I've read. Anyway, oh yeah, I also got I picked up some used books, which is really cool. That they had some of this stuff. Showcase Batman and the Outsiders. I think it was only like $9 there or something. I think brand new it's like $18 or something like that. So that was a good deal on that. And then I picked up more Bleach comics, manga, because I have the first 4 volumes, and I picked up the next 5. So I have 1 through 9 now, out of like a million. I don't even know. I think Bleach is maybe like the second longest, at least in North America, second most prolific manga published yet, maybe behind One Piece. I may be lying there. Let's see. Bleach. You know what? I'm just gonna look up Bleach manga. I don't think they don't still make it, do they? Is it still ongoing? Oh yeah, and it ended in 2016. So 74 volumes. Oh, actually, that's actually not very many. It is a lot. It is a lot. But I was thinking it'd be, I guess, One Piece is only up to like 88 so far. But let's see, longest running. Oh, this episode is getting real boring here at the end. Longest running manga by volume count. Let's see. Okay, this by by volumes. Oh my god. There's so many more that have gone longer than One Piece. I think the ones in green, the screen I'm looking at, I think the ones in green are ongoing. Oh yeah, One Piece isn't even close to being the longest running. Let's see. One Piece is only up to 91 only. It's the 26th longest running. And it's still going. Let's see. Major, I haven't heard of that. So 72, where does 72 take it? Gintama is ongoing, is at 75. We have Naruto that ended at 72. Bleach ended at 74. Okay. But Baruto, is that the sequel to Naruto? That's still going on, I think. Is there a note about that? No, they don't have special notes about it in particular. But what's the highest count of one that I actually know? I've heard Detective Conan. I haven't read any of it. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Okay, that's up to 123. I haven't read any of that. That one's hard to collect. A lot harder to correct because it comes out in those really nice hardcover volumes, and the numbering of them isn't. Because I see like, oh, there's number 2, but I don't think it's the same number 2 that I need because I have the first volume. But I don't know if it's the very, very first volume. It's just the first volume of the set that it's from. I'm not sure. Let's see. Cooking Papa. That sounds fun. Okay, so Golgo 13 is closest to becoming the newest number 1, like getting into the top 2. It is number 3. It's ongoing. Has 191 volumes. Number 1 and number 2, they have both ended. That's Dokaben and Kochiro Katsushika, however you say that. At 205 and 200. So JoJo's is the highest ranking one that I actually am somewhat familiar with. It's sitting at number 7 with 123 volumes. But anyway, that's it. I'll also try to throw in some older stuff if I read like trade paperbacks, not necessarily older, but stuff that didn't come out that week earlier than the week that I'm recording. So stay tuned for all of that. If you are a subscriber to Comixology Unlimited, I am also a subscriber. Give me some recommendations for Unlimited titles that I should check out, because I already have the service. I may as well see what's to check out on there. I haven't read anything on there recently, but the original Superior Spider-Man issues, all those volumes are on there. So I'm intending to read those because I really like the new Superior Spider-Man that just started like 2 weeks ago, coming out of Spider-Geddon, that whole event. So I'll definitely be talking about that in upcoming weeks as I read the old volumes and the new issues of Superior Spider-Man. So anyway, that's it for now. Thanks for listening. Let me know your recommendations and your thoughts on the stuff I talked about by tweeting me at TIW Podcast. Go to tiwpodcast.com for more reviews. If you enjoyed this episode or anything else on the site, please share some links with your friends. Subscribe on iTunes, write a review on iTunes. Also subscribe on Spotify, YouTube, wherever you listen to these podcasts. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll be back with I'll be talking about next WWE Worlds Collide tournament, because that's airing today as I'm recording this, and Halftime Heat. I'll probably put those together into one big episode, since Halftime Heat will only be like 15-20 minutes anyway. So that's it for now. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you later here on TIW Podcast. Bye.